Hey penguins, it's me. I'm back with a new video and a new save file. This save file is called Kazaku Valley, made in Dragon Valley, and I'm starting off here making my first ever lot. So the idea behind this, and the reason I started a new save file even though I said I wouldn't because I've got like 50,000 projects already started and not finished, is just because I am so flipping excited to go to Japan next year. I am trying to learn Japanese. It is not easy. I'm doing it via the Duolingo app, which I'm not sure if it's the best app, I'll be honest, because I've learned stuff like how to say America is a big country. I'm not really sure when I get to Japan that's the first thing I'm going to be saying. I've also learned words like lawyer and things like that. I actually just genuinely don't know how to say things I imagined that would actually be useful, like can we have a table for four or something like that, you know, just because when you get there you don't go screaming out into the streets I need a lawyer. I hope not anyway, like I hope that's not what they expect my experience to be. But yeah, I mean it might just be that the app is made more for people who are going to live there rather than people who are just going there for a couple of weeks or something. But yeah, there's no options to like say I'm just traveling or anything. It's just like it just like throws you in there. So yeah, a bit different. I mean the last time I learned a language was in school, and it was Spanish, and like I still remember a few words like hola and stuff like that. Like I do like to say them on a regular basis. Oh, that was weird, that plant like went on the bike saddle. Anyway, but like I think yeah, I wasn't very good at it. I just didn't enjoy it at school. I don't know, maybe it's just that language in particular, but yeah, I am finding learning a new language hard, but it might just be my age as well. Like I've heard, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard like when you try and learn anything when you're a bit older, it is hard, so maybe that's all it is. So here I'm just decorating the street. So these apartments are going to function like the Bridgeport late night apartments. So only one of these buildings is going to actually be the home for your sim, and in the end I'm going to pick which one I want to go for, but I already think based on the location I know which one I want to actually be your sim's apartment rather than just your random neighbour's apartment. But yeah, I really have tried to make it less Studio Ghibli in a way, because I started another save file like about 6 months ago in Monte Vista, and that one is a lot more kind of like based off anime style homes. So this one's a bit more realistic. I'm not absolutely amazing at doing realistic builds, so I just kind of go with my gut of what looks nice. That's kind of just how I like to do it. I try and put a lot of detail in, and I find even like the more cartoony builds I do have to have a lot of detail just to make them look remotely like what I want other people to see, not just what's going on in my head, because you know, everything might look totally different to you, and I finish it and I go, done, look at this, and then people are like, what is that? Like I don't know what that is. So I do try and kind of make it resemble what you'd probably expect, but since I've never actually been to Japan and I have just used like a few reference photos and just things I've seen off films and kind of like, you know, what I interpret things might look like, especially like the more traditional buildings. I've kind of gone off that. But yeah, I did really enjoy making the variety that you'll see in the build. It took me quite a long time. When I actually looked back at the footage, it was nearly 4 hours this build took me. Obviously I've condensed it because I don't think you guys want to watch the 3 hour, 4 hour long build. So I've done you a favour. It is a speed build. I mean, you know, I think with the speed builds, it always makes it look a lot easier. And even then, like, I'm never sure how much to speed it up by. Like, this is on speed 4 or 5, I want to say, for the most part. So I know some people do theirs like speed times 10, and you know, I probably could have done, and the video probably would have been half the time it is. But then I don't want you to miss out on like all the details, or if you want to slow things down for where, you know, you want to pause something and go, oh, what item was that again, or what window was that, then at least you've got a chance in hell pausing it at the right point, if you know what I mean. I don't know if you guys ever do that, like if you're ever curious about what actual windows and stuff I'm using. If you do, like, let me know if you think that the videos should actually be faster, or even if they should be slower. I'm not sure. I don't think any of you would think that, to be honest, because I do think these are kind of at the limit of how slow a speed build should be. It should be called medium speed, because it's not really super speedy, but oh well, you know, I try my best. I'm not professional, people, so you know. Inside here, this little garage, it's actually going to be usable for your sim, even though it's your neighbour's garage. But I just imagine that everyone's like quite friendly, and you're in quite a tight-knit community here, so you know, you'll get to know your neighbours quite well, and you speak to them on a regular basis. And I suppose, like, in that case, they might be like, oh, you haven't got a bench. If you ever need to use a inventing bench at any point, you can just use mine, that's fine. But yeah, I'm not sure, like, if you want to remove things, take things out, change things, you know, box that part up, that's fine. Oh yeah, I realised that the flipping pagoda wouldn't go as far because the lot size was too small or something. So in the end I compromised by making that bit a bit of like a sort of balcony, and then taking that part back so that the roof would then fit the top part. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And also, I don't know if it actually looks like it, but I use the wallpaper as sort of fake sliding doors, just because when you put in the apartment sort of function, I don't want there to be like random doors that are like, you know, NPC doors or just something. It just makes life a bit easier anyway, and I think it makes these sort of lots run better. But yeah, I guess like roofing can just be tricky at the best of times, so you sometimes just have to compromise on stuff. And I wasn't unhappy really with the balcony look anyway, so it kind of worked out for the best. Now I'm working on the second apartment. Again, like I say, I don't want them all to look exactly the same, so the one next to this one is clearly quite a traditional looking house, although I do plan on making even more traditional sort of style houses in this town. That one is it's verging on traditional, but it's not like on a raised platform with like a beautiful rock garden, and there's none of that going on. So I want to make that style house at some point in this town anyway, and I think I'm going to have a lot of fun making a lot of different style houses, because I know that especially different like areas of Japan are like kind of either more traditional or more city like, and it's really like quite a varied place in terms of the architecture and stuff, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. Like, you know, it's nice that not everything is the same, and you can definitely tell that, like, you know, different things came from different periods, which makes things so interesting. Now I'm just using the constrained floor elevation cheat, just so that I can change the sort of height of this level of the house, and I like to do that quite a lot. I think once you get the hang of the constrained floor cheat, it's actually quite easy. Having said that, I know I'm being a hypocrite because I genuinely, for probably about 7 years of after I started playing Sims, I still hadn't used it once. I think I watched a video, and I can't even remember whose, but they just kind of showed the cheat more obviously than some of the other videos I'd watched, where, you know, when you think, how did they do that? Let me rewind that. And even after you rewind it, you're like, no, still don't know what they did. So yeah, that kind of helped me. And then from then on, it was like, you know what, it's no big deal. And if things go wrong, you can always level like the levels out again, undo, and it's just not as scary then. So I just, you know, give it a try on that anyway, and it makes like your houses a lot more varied, because obviously you can still only have a certain amount of levels. I think there are like mods and cheats so you can have more than 5 levels, and they're probably not a bad idea if you want to make really high rise buildings and stuff like that. I've never actually looked into them enough, so I've never put them in my game, and I always just stick to the 5 levels because I don't make absolutely huge builds anyway. But yeah, I think that as long as you feel like, oh, I only want to make a few floors, making 1 or 2 levels a little bit smaller so that you can put the quirkier things in can make builds look really good, I think. So, oh, I forgot to mention as well, I used the wheels from the Fast Lane pack as like meant to look like a sort of aircon unit. I don't know if that's actually successful, but you'll have to let me know anyway. You know, I do have to experiment with some things sometimes, and this thing here is like meant to be some picture frames, but I thought it'd just be like nice, I don't know, like sort of brick detail or something on the house, because I just felt like it needed like something extra. I'm not saying I necessarily picked the right thing to do, but I just thought that looks quite cute really. You might also notice that some of the things I use, like those little pictures and stuff, are store content. So I know that there's other ways of getting store content and stuff, and I don't expect people to go out and buy the Sims store content just so that any builds, not just mine, but anyone's builds look the same, because it's just, you know, it's an older game. Don't spend your money, don't give EA all your money.
50 simoleons for half a cockadoodle-doo.
But I do list in the description of my download what store content I use, more than anything, so you know that probably what got replaced if you didn't have it. The thing is, most of the time it does either get replaced by another object or just it won't show up, so maybe those pictures won't, you know, there won't be anything there basically if you didn't have them. And there's no like real harm to that, to be fair. Like the majority of what I use is not store content, and I actually haven't used any CC in this build, because at the moment, especially when I'm working on my save files, I don't have any CC in my game at all. Got no mods. That's just so that when people download everything, it will show up as it should, and I just don't need to worry about that, because about a year ago I had to like completely reinstall Sims because
my computer won't work. What do I do?
I think there was just some mods that were conflicting and things were just happening in my game, and it was getting to a point where it was getting really annoying, and I had to like quit loads of times for things to work, and I was just like, you know what, I'd rather go back to completely basic Sims so I can actually build again, rather than not have it at all or not have it working, because that's just not worth it. I know that what I definitely did was the wrong thing, because when I first got into downloading mods and stuff, I was the type of person, and I probably still am, the type of person who just doesn't read like the readme files, what's going to conflict and stuff. Don't do what I do. Don't be a naughty penguin. Read the things, because honestly, it will tell you what not to use, what's going to actually mess up your game if you've got like both mods installed and stuff. And I think that's like, you know, they put that there for a reason, because obviously so much stuff can conflict. Yeah, I just think it would have been wiser of me to actually pay attention to that. So yeah, I guess it's just one of those things, isn't it? Also, I will say that this blue colour of this house is going to change, like, I think 4 times. So I do cut out the majority of me messing with it, because I know after the fact it's not going to end up how it looks now. I think it's just the fact that some of the colours looked a bit Mediterranean rather than Japanese, which honestly there are like different coloured blues and different coloured, you know, buildings. There really are those in real life, but it's just for this it just didn't look right. I don't know, I just tried a few things. You also probably noticed that I was colouring a lot of the interior black and stuff. I literally I do that for absolutely no reason, I'll be honest, just so it's got a wallpaper down, because when I put the markers in later you won't be able to see into them anyway. But yeah, I don't know, that's just a weird thing that I do.
Everything's fine!
So here we've got the 3rd apartment. So again, I have decided by this point this is not going to be the apartment you live in. The apartment you live in will actually be the last one that I complete. So we'll see what happens with that. But basically, again with this, I tried to make a little spot where you could imagine going around to a neighbour's house and actually kind of going in, because the floor that's like with the Bridgeport late night sort of apartment style is that you can sort of ring the bell and speak to your neighbours, but you can't actually go inside their house. So by making like a more kind of open space within the lot and some things to do, that kind of counteracts that, because then you've got somewhere to sort of have interactions with them, since you're not going to be able to go inside their home. So yeah, that's kind of a compromise. That's something that I've come up with after doing many different apartments and stuff in my game. I thought that might be a nice little touch. So yeah, that's why I've done that. And I think if you use the cheat to change things into the lots and stuff once you've put the markers down, you could actually put different things in their houses, like, and you know, I did limit the amount of store content I put in this build, because again I want it to show up kind of like how I built it, if I can help it. So I was kind of tempted to use the tea set that came with the brunch at the old mill, and put that in there, because I thought that could be quite cute, having like some tea with your neighbour. But I might still put that in some of the other builds, but I didn't put it in this one basically. I will admit, when I'm making these builds, I almost picture the neighbours that would live there, and even though when you get in the build it will be a totally random person each time, I just pictured this one being like an old lady who lives here, who invites you in for like some crumpets or something. Why did I pick crumpets? I don't know, but something to eat or something to drink, and she's like really friendly and old and maybe has a cat. But you know, like, I think it's good when you build things to have something in mind, because I think otherwise it gives you a bit of direction if you've got that in mind, and if you don't, it makes it kind of hard to come up with a very specific idea on what you're doing. So yeah, I just mess around a lot with the sort of look of the build as well, because I think with a 3-story, quite, let's say, boxy build like this, you want to put as much in to make it not look boxy. So by using different wallpapers in different places and extra like bump outs with balconies and stuff, it can make it look a lot better. But it is effectively taking a couple of rectangles and, you know, just sprucing them up a bit to make them look a bit more detailed. So that's sort of what I tend to do with this style of build, and it's because it's so easy to make something that kind of just looks too plain, so that's why I do all of that. Again, putting in all the fake doors. I hope that you do think they look kind of like fake doors, otherwise they probably look stupid, and I've put them on every build.
Oops.
I guess you could always like go in and change them back to regular wallpaper, or try and put regular doors in there or something if you prefer that. So yeah, I did my best. So yeah, I think with this as well, I did enjoy the fact that I could kind of decorate the inside of this house because you can see into it, whereas obviously, like I say, with the other builds, when you kind of knock on the neighbour's door, they'll never invite you in, so you can't actually see into their house, which did make the building and decorating of this a lot easier. Like, I know I said it was like nearly 4 hours, but if I had to decorate all of like the interiors for each apartment, this would probably have been like an entire day's worth of building. So yeah, it did make life a bit easier, but like I say, it's just harder to put that sort of personality and extra stuff to do, so that's why I like to make this bit a bit more open. So for some reason I did start putting in like fake sliding doors in here as well, but then I realised later, don't worry, that hey, you will actually need to like knock on the neighbour's door, so there is actually going to have to be a real door. So yeah, I do change it, don't worry. So yeah, again, this is kind of like my interpretation of kind of Granny's kitchen. I'm not sure why I put the bar stuff in there first, because like, I don't know, I'm just like picking out things that I think might look good as like cabinets and stuff, but then I don't actually use those, so don't worry. Sometimes when I'm like scrolling past things in the decor section, I do think, oh god, I'm gonna forget to put that in, or that might be good, and so I just place it temporarily just so I can sort of remember to use it. So for these, I did use a fair bit of store content in this part. When I say a fair bit, I probably use like 4 items or something, but one of them's like the jars from the Granny's kitchen set. I can't remember the proper name for it. I think it's like the farmhouse set or something, along with that thing that looks like it's holding letters and stuff, and then the other things are from some sort of Japanese inspired set as well, like the little bucket sculpture and the little baskets. I think they're just so cute, and I really enjoy using that sort of thing. And then the other thing I used that was store content was the little set of flowers, which is probably one of my favourite sort of floral decorative piece out of all the plants and stuff that I have in my game. I just really like that. I always thought that those little blossoms are really pretty. This is like the Granny's kitchen all coming together.
Ooh, you nailed the old lady.
I was quite tempted to put some cat stuff in here. I think I mentioned that in my head she had cats, but I think that's quite like a personal choice in games. Like, people don't always have pets, or people sometimes prefer dogs and stuff, so I thought I'd make it more generic in a way, you know, and you can customize it how you want, so that's just like an extra detail if you wanted it in. But so I left it kind of like that. I quite like that all the things were inside the kitchen was like wooden effect, because I think obviously wood and all that sort of material, natural materials, are used a lot in Japanese houses, so that's kind of why I wanted to do that. Oh god, here I am going back and recolouring. This is again not what it turns out like. Right, so this sort of like it's not like, I don't know, it's kind of tiled-ish, but I saw a reference image that had that sort of outer on it, and I thought that just looked really nice. Like, I really liked the sort of look of it, and it's very different to anything I've done in my other builds, so that's why I kind of used that. And now we are moving on finally to the actual house that your sim will live in. So with the cheats that you can use to change things around, again, you could opt to have one of the other apartments to be your apartment and then not this one. But my idea was this is like going to be the price of a starter home. So it's going to be like the more shabby of the apartments here in this complex. I'm sure like your neighbours love it and they're like, oh yeah, I'm so glad we've got a rough neighbour. No, but I mean, like, you know, there's just this one house at the end of the road that's clearly not been looked after that well. I think the idea was that this is sort of normally not like a rental, but like, you know, a lot of tenants, let's say, have lived here, and over the years things have just not been looked after great because I guess like it's normal when people, I'm not saying this about everyone at all, but like when people tend to rent places, like, you know, you're not going to be there maybe forever anyway, or you just think, I'm already spending so much money on rent, you know, as long as my landlord's happy and everything, I'm not going to go and invest a load of money into repainting stuff or, you know, doing anything with the exterior of the building or anything. So it is what it is, and I think that's kind of what I thought of, because again, like, you can afford this when you first make a sim in the game, so it's not going to be like luxury. There's going to be like your bare minimum things in it. I'd still say like I decorated it like not super plain, so it's got like a bit of personality inside, and you know, obviously I only had a minimum amount of money to sort of spend on it anyway, but I did what I could and I really liked it when it was all finished. With the actual decorating part, I do it in more of like a stop motion style. I tested this out on Twitter like about 4 months ago-ish, saying like, do people like that style, and I got like quite a positive response saying that they did. And I think my idea is not for every build, because for some builds I think it's really nice to just actually spend the time doing the decorating and showing the entire process, but then for other builds where you've already got like 30 minutes into the video and you're thinking, oh god, she's gonna like decorate the entire build, at least that makes it a bit shorter, but you still get to see the results and you still get to see all the objects getting placed. So I suppose that's kind of a compromise in a way, just because I don't know, I mean, maybe you guys like to see you know, videos that are like an hour long or something. I think it's like the same fear that every YouTube creator has, that their build or their, you know, creation, their video is too long to keep people entertained. But you know, sometimes people are like, I want more, don't worry about the length of it. I say that about other people's videos. I'm like please make this video as long as possible. I love your content, but I don't somehow think the same about my own stuff. So you know, I mean, let me know what you think anyway. But with this, just so you know, and just so you don't have any fears about it, I did test out the stairs so that I knew for a fact your sim could get up to the upper level, because when you do the constrained floor, it can be a little bit dodgy at times, like it just doesn't always work the way you think it's going to work. But I did play test it just in case. So with this balcony here, I placed some flowers in at some point on the front of the balcony, and it means that you can't actually use it as a balcony, but if you want to delete those or change something about it or make the balcony bigger, you could use it. I just wasn't super fussed myself. The lights, the fairy lights that I use on the outside there are from the Bohemian Garden pack, which is store content. So again, if you don't have that, might not show. It's really not the end of the world, I guess, if you have some fairy lights or not. But yeah, I wanted to put that detail in because I thought it was quite cute. So this is going to be kind of like for a single sim. That's what I've designed it for. So at the top, when I do decorate it, I'll only only put a single bed in and things like that. Again, you could change it, but it is a very small room, so you do have very limited things that you can put in it. I guess you could like change it around, like the downstairs could actually be the bedroom and then the upstairs could be the kitchen or something. You know, there's quite a lot of like freedom in that. This is just like how I pictured it.
See what I'm saying?
Not really.
I did have to go back and mess with constrained floor a little bit more because I made a decision to make the little sort of bump out room its own separate room. So to do that, I did have to like go back in and sort of make a wall in between and stuff, which I'll show you in a bit. For now, I'm just making another small level above for, I don't know, I think it's just like extra detail for the roof, I suppose, because I think it just looked nicer with a bit of height. I did something a bit different because I left that bit flat, but then I added the sort of roof bump outs at the front and the back, so it's like a little bit of shelter over the balcony, a little bit of shelter over where you'd enter with the outdoor steps, and I quite liked doing the outdoor steps as well because I wouldn't normally put my steps on the outside. In the UK there's not many houses, there are some, but there's not many houses that have the stairs going to the upper floor, but some of the reference photos I was looking at had the stairs on the outside, and I guess because the rooms themselves aren't huge, that's just one less thing to take up space inside, which makes so much sense since it is kind of a tiny home in a way. So here's the mistake that I'm trying to correct. So yeah, it's a bit fiddly, but you know, it's not the end of the world. So yeah, I'll show you in a second as well the actual putting together of the apartment functions. So I have done another video on this previously about over a year ago, I think, just to show you what to do. So I'm just placing in here what's called the hidden room markers. So that's in any place that your sim is not going to be entering, and that again just means that you'll be able to set the doors on the outside as the NPC doors. The other spheres that I've placed are for the public markers where your sims can go. Now this is an example of doing everything right and things still not working. When things just don't work for absolutely no reason, sometimes just delete the little orbs or spheres or whatever you want to call them, the hidden room marker, the public room marker, and then just place them again. That should fix it. Some people asked in the other apartment video, I've done everything right, still not working. Just undo some things and then redo them and it should probably work. So here we go. Now the door has the NPC function. Just deleted the door, just deleted the spheres and put them back in, and it worked. Literally it's just trial and error sometimes because it should work first time, but it's just not perfect. So here you can see you'll have the option to ring the bell. The only reason it's greyed out is because I haven't pressed play, so there is no neighbours auto generated, which is fine. So now I'm going to be moving on to the interior. Like I say, I do it in like a sort of stop motion. I don't know if that's what it's called. I think it's stop motion. This sort of style basically. The kitchen's very basic. The kitchen I didn't put a dining table in, not just for the sake of money, but because there's the dining table you can use at the old lady's house, and I thought it'd be like a more community sort of thing to do. So that was why I didn't bother spending the money on that. And then this is like more of like a studenty looking bedroom. Again, you can redecorate this to suit the sim that you place in here. When you download this lot, it won't actually have any sims living there apart from like the NPCs when you ring the bell, so you can move your sim in, and it is a starter home. So these are the Kazaku apartments, all finished. I hope you really like how they look. You can download them from my website www.nessiepenguin.com. I'm interrupting myself for self-promo of my website. I just wanted to showcase a few things I've been working on, which you can download from my website. So this is a baby store. It's using the store content from Midnight Hollow to make an actual functioning store, and I think it'll be a good little addition if your family keeps expanding, so you can go and buy cots and stuff. Next, I wanted to show you the Little Bears nursery, which I made using the Aurora Skies Early Learning Centre, just for something a bit different. Ooh!
Earthquake!
Sorry, that was just the Into the Future portal loading in my game. So here we've got the new nursery, which is not just fun for kids but for adults too. See, everyone gets to learn. So yeah, put in like a little painting section, a little toy room, and then like loads of room for like a cloak room and stuff. And then they've got some little bathrooms, and then this room which is sort of for reading and playing with the fake kitchens. So lots to do there. And then finally I reached out on Twitter, and Frosted Shore replied to me, and she mentioned that I should probably try making a like Japanese bar, ramen bar, I think she mentioned. So this is what I came up with, and yeah, I put the store teriyaki set in there so that your sim could make it, and it went interestingly. Oh my god.
Emotional damage.
Why do these things happen to me? I'm just a penguin. So yeah, this was the upstairs of the bar. I really enjoyed making it. Again, you can find those on my website, nessiepenguin.com, along with all the other creations I do upload. Please check them out. And thanks so much for watching. Bye, penguins!